and Nature Valley.
It really, really nice. May I have to say it twice.
The time by Jamaica Mountain Peak Golden Turmeric Latte is
12 p.m.
Monday, May 27, 2024. Welcome to CVM News at Noon. I'm Nika Lewis. Regional authorities say Jamaica ranks among the top 3 rape rates in the Caribbean. This while research indicates 3 of the top 10 recorded rape rates in the world occur in the region. It's for this reason some stakeholders are hoping the number of cases can be reduced and eventually eliminated. Speaking on Sunrise this morning, the We Talk Project's program manager, Ruth Howard, highlighted the importance of their We Talk Facts campaign.
The World Health Organization tells us that 1 in 3 women and girls experience some form of sexual violence by the time they hit 18 years old. In Jamaica, that number is 1 in 4. Now, when you say that to persons, they're like, 1 in 4, it's kind of abstract, right? But if you look around you and just look at the number of women in the room you're in right now, 1, 2, 3, somebody's been abused. 1, 2, 3, somebody who's been abused. That's a lot of women, and women make up almost 50% of the country. That's a lot of people in the country experiencing violence, and it's not even just women. There are other forms of violence, because gender-based violence is violence that you experience because of your gender, or that predominantly affects one gender. So men also experience this kind of violence as well. It is a problem in the world and in Jamaica. We call it the silent pandemic. Because it's tied to the expectations we have about power and control, especially in relationships, it takes various forms.
Now, many schools reopened this morning to freshly painted walls and new infrastructure. This includes the Busy Bee Early Childhood Institution in St. Thomas, which was one of Scotiabank's initiatives. The foundation has been involved in numerous cleanup and refurbishing projects across the country. Public Affairs and Communications Director Yannick Forbes-Patrick says giving back is one of their priorities.
We're at the Busy Bee Infant School in St. Thomas, helping their Labor Day project in partnership with the United Way of Jamaica. So, you know, it's Labor Day at Scotiabank. Labor Day is not just a free day. We are big on volunteerism, so we're out here painting, refurbishing, and we know that the students will be so pleased when they come back to school on Monday. So we're happy to help. We're glad for our partners United Way, and we are doing this project as well as another one in Montego Bay today.
And after 2 years, Jamaica has finally hosted another West Indies T20 cricket home series, this time against South Africa. There have been mixed views circulating around the length of time it took to make it a reality, though. Speaking on Lead Story recently, President of the West Indies Player Association, WIPA, Wavell Hines, and regional cricket analyst Edriel Richard shared their views on the decision to have Jamaica host the series.
I'm elated. The fans are elated. What was most impressive for me yesterday was to see lots of school children in the stands. Georgia in the stands is really hosted, and they had subscribed for about 700 tickets for school children, and they had a take-up of about 1,200. So that tells you that there's a lot of interest in cricket. The teachers were very excited. Cricket is still alive in Jamaica. I'm the president of Kensington Cricket Club, and I interface with all the youngsters in my club, and of course the other 24 clubs, the major clubs that holds up in Jamaica, and the passion is there.
Sometimes governments have difficult decisions to make, and I guess I've come to that stage in my life where I recognize that sometimes these things, you know, governments will err and they will make decisions based on what's presented to them and what's in front of them. So all I could say was just a little bit disappointing that all in all that there's not been that opportunity for Jamaica to consistently be on show and be on the circuit.
Switching gears now is because it's time for Query This with Natalia Clark.
Officer,
can I have a vehicle document?
Officer, that is not a lawful reason to stop me. If you order me, officer, this can be quick and we can go.
And can you step outside the vehicle and let me have a search of the vehicle as well?
Oh, you want to search a vehicle?
It's
It's entirely possible you've been pulled over by the police while driving or as a passenger in a vehicle. This scenario is quite common and can happen for various reasons, such as traffic violations, routine checks, suspicion of criminal activity, or safety concerns. Apart from the inconvenience of stopping, especially if you are pressed for time, you may wonder what your rights are if and when this happens. Can an officer demand to search your vehicle? Can they physically search you? How about your property? And can you be arrested for refusing to comply? I'm Natalia Clark, and this week we query this with former policeman turned attorney Donovan Collins.
The police should have a reason, and not just a normal reason. They must have reasonable suspicion to believe that you're either carrying a weapon, an illegal gun in the vehicle, or you have stolen items in there, or dangerous drugs. So there are several legislation, including the Jamaica Constabulary Force Act, which gives the police the power to stop and search.
So it can't just be a random stop?
No.
He explains, same should be applied if the police wish to search your person or enter and search your property. Without probable cause, reasonable suspicion, or permission, a warrant should be produced.
You should read that warrant, and if possible, take a picture of the warrant. Most times, the complaint is that the police came, licked on your door, them not show them no warrant. But at a later date, a warrant is presented and the police is saying that they actually had a warrant and they showed a warrant. Now, I know from my previous occupation of being a member of the Jamaica Constabulary that most times the police don't show any warrant.
In those cases, he cautions, comply and then complain.
But what would be good is if persons can have a discrete recording device that can capture the proceedings, so that if it is that your rights are really breached, then you can now institute a claim against the state.
And how about if something illegal was found from an unlawful search? Can you still be prosecuted?
Even if there is an unlawful search, once something is recovered, then you can go to prison for that still.
The attorney, who frequently tackles matters of this nature, says the prevalence of this may be due to the police's desperate need to clamp down on crime.
He argues, however, that all parties must be deliberate in knowing and upholding the Constitution of Jamaica. I'm Natalia Clark, helping you to get the facts and to be in the know.
CVM News at noon returns in just a moment.
Take care of Grandpa.
Saka, it work.
We needed to raise capital, but our experience with local financial institutions was that they were cautious and slow to act, and interest rates were far too high. We had real concerns about financing our business through outside equity investors and the possibility of interference. Could we get a fair valuation for our business? We had our own ideas about the business and its value. Should I go the traditional route of bank financing, or should I try the Jamaica Stock Exchange? So we made a call and experienced transformation of our business through conversations. I'm John Mafood, CEO of Jamaican Teas, and we're listed on the Jamaica Stock Exchange.
Give us a call today at 876-967-3271 to begin your transformation through conversation. We want to see your company listed on the Jamaica Stock Exchange.
Attention all commuters, your JUTC fares just got lower. Use your smarter card today and pay only $50. Yes, only $50. Travel safe and hassle-free with the JUTC using your smarter card. But wait, there's more. Get 3 free rides with your first smarter card top-up before May 31. And starting May 13, all adult commuters without a smarter card will pay $100. With your smarter card, paying your fare is easier. Say goodbye to coins and hello to hassle-free travel. Don't miss this opportunity when you travel with the JUTC, your route to excellence.
Welcome back. It's now time for our discussion segment. We're talking about corporal punishment because the Jamaican government is set to outlaw corporal punishment in homes, extending the original ban of sorts that already exists in preschools nationwide. And this proposed legislation aims to eliminate physical punishment and promote non-violent methods of child rearing in Jamaica. Logging on now to join the conversation, our policy and advocacy specialist at Jamaicans for Justice, JFJ. We have Ms. Jade Williams and Dr. Patience Alonge, family and gender chairman at the Association of Christian Communicators and Media. A long phrase for all of this, ACCM. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
Well,
Thank you.
Indeed. Let me start with Ms. Williams from the JFJ because I'd like to hear the JFJ's reaction to the government's proposal to outlaw corporal punishment wider than just schools but in homes now.
Well, firstly, we'd like to acknowledge that it's not a new proposal. We've heard this proposal several times before, most recently in 2018, where the Prime Minister would have promised a similar reform. So it's not new. And it is a proposal that we are in general support of in terms of the ban of corporal punishment in all spaces. What we will acknowledge, though, is that there must be, along with this proposal, a period of adjustment for the public that would involve a re-socialization of parents, and also the integration of certain support systems so that parents are better able to manage those stressors that are the result, that end up resulting in corporal punishment. So we are for a complete ban, but we do believe that it cannot be a cut and dry, implement a legislative proposal, and that is it. There will definitely need to be a period of support for those parents so that that re-socialization can take place, because what we don't want to happen is for a further criminalization of certain kinds of people due to this new provision. So we'd want them to have the ability to avoid that criminalization before it is fully implemented.
Well, let me bring in Dr. Alonge into the conversation. Welcome again, Doc. So the ACCM has expressed some concern about the government's move to outlaw corporal punishment in homes, but could you therefore elaborate on why the association is viewing this as an overreach by the government?
Thank you so much. ACCM originally stands for family. We have made a proposal that for one to be able to nurture children properly, the family must be put together. The father, the mother, with the children. So when we have this proper foundation, then the family upbringing will be different from what we are currently seeing. So supporting the family is what ACCM is standing for. That for homes and family where children are being raised and nurtured according to biblical standard, which stems from love, definitely, love for the children, and love for each other, to train the child in the best interest of the child and in accordance with God's law.
Which is not to spare the rod, if I may interject.
Yeah, if you interject with not to spare the rod and spoil the child, the rod here is not rod to use cutlass and pin down and cut up the child and beat up the child and hit the child by the head. No.
Yes.
That is not the rod we are talking about. The words, the scripture, the instruction, the manual, the rules, the guidelines that are already there for parents to utilize, to guide and nurture the family. The father have a role, the mother have a role, and the child have a role.
So does the ACCM believe that parents should be beating their children, therefore? As long as you're not chopping them and cutting them and all of that you mentioned just now. Beating should be...
No. That is not what we are saying.
Okay.
If that article was read accurately, we're saying that there are appropriate way of discipline. You cannot remove that from the home.
Yes.
And we stand for that.
But not for abuse.
Yeah, we reject the abuse totally. That's what the article say. We are against abuse, but we are for appropriate discipline within the home according to biblical truth and principle.
Understood. Miss Williams, we want to bring you back to the conversation because there was some mention that slapping a child appropriately is not considered abuse by the ACCM, for example. But how do you differentiate between appropriate discipline and abuse?
Well, this is an issue where we have done an extensive amount of research, and where an extensive amount of research has been done, where we look at violence as a response to undesirable behavior, we find that that is never an appropriate response. Violence in response to undesirable behavior, we have found, regardless of the extent of the violence, leads to long-term consequences, negatively so, for the development of the child. And you can look at, for example, Professor Anthony Clayton's work on the issue, where he speaks to the development of PTSD, for example, further behavioral challenges in the child. And these are issues that are catalysts for further violence, as we have already established violence as an appropriate response to undesirable behavior. One of the things that we've also found is that where we use violence as a response to children's undesirable behavior, as they develop, the child either also employs violence as a means to curb behavior, or they are comfortable receiving violence as adults as a means to curb behavior. And we've seen that manifest in domestic violence relationships, which is something that is highly prevalent in our society here. 1 in 3 women in Jamaica have experienced some form of domestic violence. And that is not to say what the men have experienced, as they underreport extensively. So when we consider the proposal that, you know, some beating should be allowed versus... We believe that the complete ban is absolutely necessary, and that would mean that violence cannot be used as a response to undesirable behavior, that we must be looking at alternative disciplinary methods. And we do acknowledge that this is not something that's going to happen overnight. Indeed. Because we definitely have a societal attitude towards the use of violence in response to negative behavior. So it will take some resocialization and understanding of those alternative violence methods. But I can say we're not the only ones that believe this.
Right.
You know, outside the proposal from the Prime Minister, the National Violence Prevention Committee, headed by Maureen Sands-Vaughan, made the same recommendation for a complete ban on corporal punishment, because they have seen the correlation between that and the high levels of violence that we're seeing not only in schools but in the general society.
Let me bring in the doctor right on the heels of your summing up your thoughts right there, because I'd like for you, Dr. Alonge, to tell us what this interpretation from the ACCM would look like in the ideal Jamaica post a ban, a full ban.
Okay, thank you.
You're
in
welcome.
the ideal Jamaica, we're looking forward to a place where family, the father, the mother, and the children are living together, where they are encouraged to live as one family under the same roof, where government encourages family unity. Because when you have family where the children, remember, you must also know that children have rights